Regular council meeting of the City of Sandwich is called to order Monday, October 20th. The time is 8:09 PM. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Arnett,
Here.
Alderman Chun,
Here.
Alderman Danko,
Here.
Alderwoman Erickson. Here. Alderwoman Inman. Here. Alderman Ketchum.
Here.
Alderman Kreinbrink.
Here.
Alderman Robinson.
Here. All right, the quorum, we will move on to audience comments. Are there any comments from the audience? All right, item 5 is the consent agenda. Motion to adopt the consent agenda as a whole. All items are considered routine and enacted by one motion. If there is desire to move an item, it can be done so and considered separately. They are item A, the committee of the whole meeting minutes of September 5th, 2025. Item B at the clerk's request is removed. Item C is the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 6th, 2025. Item D, the September 2025 financial report. And a request from Lisa Mangers to be paid out 40 hours on unused vacation. The personnel policy requires me to notify council of that request. Is there a motion? Oh, first of all, is there a desire to move anything from the consent agenda? Yes, Rich.
Two things, and I apologize, I was putting something on my phone. Are the regular council meeting minutes, or I'm sorry, committee of the whole meeting minutes for October 6th on there?
October 6th, that is item B. The clerk has asked that those be removed.
Okay, I was just, and I apologize, I didn't hear that because I knew we didn't have them. I hadn't reviewed them, so that's why I was gonna ask. And then my other question, and I guess it's no big deal, it's on there, but E, we don't necessarily have to approve that just because that's a matter of course, right?
Says I have to notify you.
Just
Doesn't say you have to have any action, just that you're notified
Okay.
of the request.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I think it's just on there because we just put it
Just
on there.
easier to notify that way. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 80, magic 80 number, 40 and 40. Yep. Thank you.
Remember those? All right, if there's no desire to remove them, will someone make a motion to approve A, C, D, and E of the consent agenda?
I'll make motion.
Okay, Alderman Robinson, is there a second? Second. Alderman Chun, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approved. Mayor's report, I just have one item. Every year, the Chamber of Commerce asks that we have street closures for their trick-or-treat event. They've requested Wells, Pearl, and Clark. Looks like it's gone through staff. If no one objects, we'll go ahead and sign off on that and let them have their event. Okay. Attorney report?
Nothing at this time.
Clerk report?
No report.
Administrator report?
I have nothing else to add this evening.
Any of our city departments have reports? Tony?
Nothing further, thank you.
Kurt?
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, I have no items for unfinished business. We're on 13A, new business. Alderwoman Erickson, what is the amount of bills to be approved? I understand there's a slight change.
There is. It's now going to be $541,125.99.
Okay, that is a recommendation for the Finance Committee. Is there a motion to approve payment of the bills in an amount of $541,125.99?
I'll make motion.
Alderman Robinson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderwoman Inman, any discussion on the bills or questions?
Comment, just a reminder to the supervisors that when they're signing off on their employees' reimbursements, especially for meals, that they make sure they're following the amounts, because it'd be easier if they took care of it that way and we didn't have to do it during a finance meeting.
Yep.
There was also something to be brought up to the council, was about the class that Jeff took. They wanted it to be brought to the council up here to talk about. So I don't know if anybody saw the class that was for Jeff, a reimbursement, I should say, I'm sorry, for a class. You wanted
The question was, obviously, that was different than what we were approving for the new year, the new contract, however you want to say it, proceed. I understand with the note on there that this is something that came up in April. If I'm not mistaken, we even knew back in April, though, that things are going to be changing as far as with this contract and with the length of time and obviously with the end date basically being announced. So I know it was council's desire to not be paying for a continuing education, and knowing that it still is or was apparently, and just finding out about it tonight. So I guess that's why it's being discussed in open meeting and also this way, because it wasn't something that we were expecting and nobody had knowledge, and maybe this should have come up back in May or June or July.
Well, I typically haven't brought them to you because it's always been permissible where you could just take them with approval. And that was this case too. I think this is just a matter of timing that I don't see how it can be denied, but certainly I've talked with Jeff about going forward what the contract says.
Yeah, and like my understanding of that is that Jeff was still functioning underneath his existing contract, which was permissible for those classes to be taken until the new contract took place. So, you know, essentially the finance committee was kind of split and just wanted to make the council aware of the situation. You know, my consensus on that is that if he was functioning underneath his old contract, he's done that. Had that decision be made after the new contract, it would be null and void, so.
For what it's worth, I was enrolled in the class prior to any discussion of contract or that change. So that's the only reason I submitted it. I should have done it a couple months ago. It's been a hairy summer. So I finally got around to doing it.
Well, you were enrolled before we made your other contract.
Correct.
We were talking about it because it was April 23rd that you started the class, correct?
Correct, but I have to
we were in talks
register
about it,
before
but
that
we-
though.
Yeah, so we were in talks about it. That's really where Rich was going with, is that we were already in talks about it, of not doing it. So that's where that came in.
Okay, just not talks with me
But that would have
about
been
not
like,
doing it.
that would have been like, you probably had to register January, February, somewhere.
No,
in
I
that
had to
time.
register a week or two before that.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. They were still, yeah.
Yep, so going forward, I don't see any of those coming forward. Okay, any other questions on the bills? All right, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Chun,
Aye.
Alderman Danko,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Inman,
Aye.
Alderman Ketchum,
Aye.
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
No.
and Alderman Arnett.
Aye. All right, motion passes. 13B, this is discussion and possible action to authorize the renewal. That'd be the mayor to sign that with your authorization of the employee health insurance. That is through Blue Cross Blue Shield, reflects a combined increase of 7.5% over the 2024 rate. Is there a motion to approve and renew our insurance with that increase?
I'll make the motion.
Alderman Chun makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Robinson, any discussion on the increase? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Danko,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Inman,
Aye.
Alderman Ketchum,
Aye.
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
and Alderman Chun.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Item C is the discussion and possible action on an approved professional service agreement with Engineering Enterprise, Inc. of Sugar Grove to begin design engineering for the decommissioning of the Railroad Street water plant and the Clark Street water treatment improvement at a cost of $308,381. Is there a motion to approve item C and authorize the mayor to enter into that agreement on behalf of the city?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Alderman Danko, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Alderman Chun, is there any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a question. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about $308,000 here. And I know we've worked with EEI, but at any point, do we ever look for requests for professional services? Because we're talking $308,000.
Could be, yes. Why we didn't is because they were already part of our consultation for the last few years about that project. Familiar with it, I assume that their rates are standard rates that we see with the other engineering firms like HLR. And they're listed in the back of the agreement what they're actually charging us for those services. So they're familiar with their project. They're also the ones that we've consulted with the whole time with all of our issues at their water plant, and they also did our master plan. So that's why we elected to stay with them. More
Right, I
familiar with their
understand that,
product.
but at a certain point, we need to look at our residents and say we had this, this, and this. But we can't do that.
Could. We find the need to, we certainly could, but they've been our engineer in these projects.
This cost roughly turns out to be about 7% of the total the last estimate, which is 2 years ago that they need to update, we're looking at 4.5 million. So this represents about 7% of the project.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah.
I just have a question. I know it was budgeted for the 300,000 on that. Where are we getting the 8,000?
Well, I hope they come under. If not, it's like anything else, it's just a contingency cost. When we write the budget, we write it well in advance of us going out to find out what the cost is. It's like that with any budget. Budgets are not meant to be exact. I don't know who came up with the number of 300,000. I thought it was a pretty good number. Only be 8,000 some dollars off. Freddie, you want to take credit for that?
No, what we did is we took the numbers and just made sure we aligned it with what was originally planned out for the master plan. We had some numbers on that, so.
Which is like 2 years old.
Numbers are holding true, it looks like. I was just trying to pull that document up.
Yeah, I can't pull that document up. That's what I was trying to look at too.
It was a big PowerPoint presentation it was given. I mean, this has been going on, at least
Right.
in the 2 terms that I've been on the council, that we've known that this building needs to go. If that roof comes down,
We're
you know,
screwed.
that's the heart and soul of the water system here, so we need to make sure that we get moving on this and get a plan in place. Especially with the leak and everything that was just recently dealt with.
I also think this will put us in a good place to apply again for another loan option, but maybe score higher, or as Jeff said, be more shovel ready. So unfortunately, it's gonna take 9 months to do it, but we gotta do it. Okay, other questions on item C? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Chun,
Aye.
Alderman Danko,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
and Alderwoman Inman.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Oh, I missed
You
one.
missed one person. Jay, I was gonna say, there's only
Alderman
7.
Ketchum.
Aye.
Okay, now it's official, it passes. All right, item D is the discussion of possible approval of professional service agreement with EI to provide additional engineering to support the Main Street project. Is there a motion to approve item D?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Alderman Kreinbrink, is there a second?
Second.
Alderwoman Inman? Is any discussion on item D?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
We have 2 bids or proposals with 2 different numbers. We got one today that was higher than the one that we just got handed, so we don't know which one is accurate.
Yeah, we got one that's 24,000, one that's 39,000.
Right, the lower one.
Okay. So what does, is this new?
So the first one,
Going forward, or?
well, the first one you got was several months ago, when there was questions about the additional sidewalk that was being done out on the project. There was all the lead service lines that we didn't know how that was gonna be handled as far as part of the construction, because it was, all these things were technically on private property and not part of the Main Street project. So there was all these pieces of construction engineering that needed to be covered someplace and we didn't know who was gonna do it, because it wasn't part of HLR's scope.
So is this like from when the project began until now, or is this from, say, tomorrow until the end of the project?
So
What-
this
what
has
is
this has been ongoing since the pre-con meeting that happened at the beginning, you know, the springtime.
So is it the 24 or the 39?
The 24, the revised number covers what needs to be done for the total Main Street project. It's been revised because the lead service line stuff has been handled primarily by city staff. And all of the sidewalks that are out there have been absorbed by HLR watching the other sidewalks. It's been just absorbed as part of that project, so we don't need to do anything extra, which is good.
So did we get the 24 tonight or the 39?
You got the 24 tonight.
Okay, thank you. I had them opposite, so that's why I was wondering. I thought the 39.
And that was what was brought first several months ago, not knowing what was going on, and that's why we held off on it while we were figuring out all the different issues with construction.
Okay, other questions on item D?
I do, so
Yes.
there's three rates in cost. Obviously, you're in there, you're $2.43 an hour. And then we've got somebody at 208 and somebody at 175. So essentially, has there been anyone other than you on site?
This is not all site work either. There's office work too that's being done.
I think the question is then maybe what do those other two people provide?
Well, there was part of the lead service line coordination. We're getting all of the updated lines coordinated for that project. And then some of the stuff hasn't happened yet, obviously. This is the meetings that we had. Obviously, I was attending those. And if there's meetings that have to happen out in the field by an engineer other than me, it could be.
Does this mean moving forward? I mean, obviously, you and I met, we walked the list that we did.
Yeah.
Janelle, Jeff, and I met with Don today. We walked the street as well
Yep.
again. In this, is anything having to do with the Gonzo's debacle built into there, or?
You mean the curb?
Yes.
This includes that kind of stuff, is coordinating those types of things. That's exactly what this is for, is to deal with all the issues we have that come about the project that needs to be addressed by the city engineer.
So moving forward, we're actually going to have somebody that's going to walk the project before the Tuesday meetings and actually compile a list and sit down with HLR and say, hey, guys, these are the deficiencies we're seeing. These are the things we're seeing that we don't like moving forward. Because that's what we did with Don today. And he agreed, a lot of that sidewalk is pretty bad. There's a lot of spots that we can see that are going to be holding water because it rained like heck the other night, and
The stuff that was constructed, you mean?
yeah, you can see the staining in the sidewalk currently.
Yeah.
So is this additional cost? I mean, I need a little education here, because this all started before I was here. There was money you were already budgeted for this project, right? Your services,
No,
No, HLR was.
HLR.
HLR.
They're the project.
We're not HLR.
But to clarify though, you are the city's engineer.
Correct, but our scope of services as city engineer does not cover doing these specific projects and all the stuff that entails on these specific projects.
I think when it came to Main Street, we elected not to have them oversee the Main Street project. It was just HLR that ran the project.
Okay.
And we had Kurt, on occasion, go talk with him as our engineer, but he was not an additional engineering firm or person on the project for, like,
But like typically, like if we had an actual city engineer person, our person would be overseeing no matter what engineering firm we had responsible for whatever project they would be overseeing that. We just didn't have EEI doing it this way because it was HLR's project. Is that right?
Well, now, as the city engineer, if you had a city engineer on staff full-time, they would do the similar duties that I am doing, participating in the meetings and coordinating with the city staff to make sure that the needs of the city are being met by HLR, who's not, you know, per se, communicating directly with everybody and coordinating with everybody.
Okay.
They're running the IDOT project and reporting back on those meetings, what's going on in progress.
Okay.
So think about Pratt Road Bridge too, right? We just, HLR is the one that's been working on that, but we're gonna have a conversation under D if it's them, or it could have been Fair Graham, so that's an example too, where somebody else could have been on that project with another engineering firm. I think on Latham Street, you got involved, we had some issues with some of the
Yeah.
water that failed, and we had a conversation with that. That's when Kurt came in as the city's engineer, but not
Correct.
in the full scope of the project.
Yeah, it was a similar situation with Latham Street, and a T&M contract essentially to ensure that the city's best interest was being met by the project and the engineering firm that was overseeing it.
Because to me, it seems like that's what we need, is somebody that's on our side representing the city to make
Correct.
sure.
And that's exactly what we're there for. And it will be, when we get to Pratt Road Bridge, there will be, an obviously much smaller project, but there still will be that small supplement role to assist HLR. You know, like with Nick and I talk a lot on coordinating the various projects we did with Latham Street, when I was working with the water department, with Brad. This is how we got the sanitary sewer issue fixed on Latham Street that was, no one knew about. You know, all these things, these are city-affected items that just need to be covered, that your Phase 3 engineer doesn't always know about, because they're not connected with the city staff like I am.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so item D, this is for $24,038 for EEI in the Main Street project. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Chun,
Aye.
Alderman Danko,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
No.
Alderwoman Inman,
Aye.
Alderman Ketchum,
Aye.
and Alderman Kreinbrink.
Aye.
All right, item D passes. Last item is item E. I think it says negotiate, Jeff. Isn't this actually to award?
No, this is basically so that you can negotiate with HLR. We do not have a proposal from them as far as price. This was
They're
a
just the selected
QBS
engineer.
that we selected them
Alright.
as the
Just want to make
the
sure.
more qualified firm. So now we would go back to them, ask them for the proposal, and then we would bring that back for our next meeting to approve.
Okay. All right, item E then is to discuss and authorize the mayor to negotiate with HLR for the Pratt Road Bridge Phase 3 engineering. Is there a motion to authorize me to negotiate with them for a price?
I'll make a motion.
Alderman Robinson, is there a second?
I'll second.
I think Alderwoman Inman beat you. It's a race. All right, any questions on that process? I do recall, I think the last time I really got involved with this process, so I think it was on Latham Street where we had to discuss some final costs before we started the project.
So just to be clear, after the negotiation that you guys have, you're gonna bring it back to us, and we're gonna,
Yeah, they'd actually
Yea or
give
nay?
us the price, right? Yep.
And if-
Okay, other questions?
Sandra, correct me if I'm wrong, if we bring it back and we feel it's too high and we reject it, we can move on to the next proposal. But if theirs comes in even higher, we can't go back.
That would be correct, yes.
Okay, just so that that's clear.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move forward in negotiations with HLR on the Pratt Road Bridge, Phase 3 engineering.
Just means
No
we can
further
start the
questions?
process
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Ketchum,
Aye.
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Chun,
Aye.
Alderman Danko,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
aye.
and Alderwoman Inman.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Alderperson's reports, item 14, Alderman Arnett,
Nothing further.
Alderman Chun.
Yeah, I got a question. Has anyone pursued the security over at City Hall yet?
Anyone,
The foyer in City Hall, like, for the security that Denise was asking about? Has anyone,
for the separate booth? I don't think we've gotten that far.
I thought we were looking into doing something.
We are, we've just been preoccupied with the water plant.
That should have been dealt with decades ago. But yeah.
We're still working on some of them. We've asked for an extension.
And FOIAs, we've been working on FOIAs. That's taking up a lot of our time.
Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
Alderwoman Erickson?
Yeah, can I ask for executive for personnel, please?
Yes. Anything else?
No, no, thank you.
Alderwoman Inman?
Yeah, I'd just still like to get a code enforcement report for.
Yeah, it's
every-
due, after I spoke with him, it's due to you on the 3rd at your first meeting in November.
Okay,
I gave him a new reporting format I'd like from to use.
okay.
Good. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Alderman Ketchum?
Nothing right now.
Alderman Cranbrink?
Nothing further, sir.
Alderman Danko?
Nothing further.
Alderman Robinson?
Don wasn't here, but I was supposed to get a report from him for the revenue and the expenses for a written one for the taste I'd asked for when we met last time. He was gonna get it to me, but hasn't, so might be,
Do you want the final copy?
I have a copy of that I can just email to
yeah, that's
everybody.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And then the other thing I was just gonna bring up, I sent Jeff a message, I think it was last week, but basically the sidewalk that wasn't even 2 weeks old yet on Main Street was dug up by Nicor to replace a gas line. I don't know if it has been other places too, but just kind of disheartening that we've got sidewalk that's less than 2 weeks old and they cut it up to put in a new gas line and that they wouldn't coordinate or know, because obviously Nicor is aware that we're doing the Main Street project and they're part of what's going on, and the fact that they just cut through the new sidewalk and they don't even cut on the seam, they cut on an angle and now it's just gravel that's there, filled in afterwards. It's just, like I said, you have something nice and
I don't know that we're much help either on Latham Street. Between them and ComEd is a challenge.
We did get some clarification on that today, just that their initial plan had been to run in the right-of-way closer to the sidewalk, and once they got in there, closer to the curb, is that right? And once they got in there, there were so many other utilities in there, they couldn't install it there, and that's why they ended up having to move it, and that's what's really caused an extra set of headaches with this project, is that we've got, amongst everything else going on in it there, we've got Nicor who's going in and replacing the entire gas line, but they're also replacing all the gas services to all the homes. So that's complicated things, there's no doubt. So unfortunately, sometimes we take that they're there versus not there, right?
And like I said, I just want to make mention, just that people are aware. I know we have no control over the utility like that. They're going to do what they want, but it just,
They are to replace all of the areas that they're digging up at their expense.
okay. Appreciate it.
Yep.
If I do recall, Alderman Robinson, you were under budget.
Who is?
You were. I believe I've seen the bill for arts.
Oh, yeah. No, it's simple. You just do the same thing every year and so. Do
All right.
500 hot dogs unless we sell more tickets.
All right, anything else, Rich?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Request for executive session under 2C1, that's the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against the legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Is there a motion to go into closed session under 2C1?
I'll make that motion.
Alderwoman Erickson, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Alderman Chun?
Is it
please call the roll.
Alderman Chun,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Danko.
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Inman,
Aye.
Alderman Ketchum,
Aye.
Okay,
Alderman Kreinbrink,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
all right, and there will be no action when we return.